so Trevor said to me, can you tell us a little bit about how you're doing social at GM? And can you do it in 20 minutes? And can you do it right after lunch? And can you tell us bad things that happened? And don't forget that most of these people don't have a team, they're doing it themselves. So can you make it applicable? And I said, okay, well, let me try to do what I can do. So hopefully you'll get a little bit of all of that out of this pitch. First of all, a little bit about me. I've been with GM 23 years. I've been in a lot of different jobs. I've been in the social team for 2.5 years. When they came to me and they said, we want you to lead the social team, I said, I have a Facebook page. That's it. Like, why am I the right person to lead the social team? And they said, well, we need someone who can organize, and we need someone who can manage people, and we need someone who can figure out what we should be doing in this space, and we think you're the right person. So the message out of this to all of you is, if you don't have a social background, it's okay, because you can learn it. Now, do I know everything in social? Certainly not. All the gentlemen who spoke with us this morning earlier know way more about social than I do. But I know how GM works, and I know how the people in GM work, and I know what our customers think and how they do and what they want. So I think I can play in this space and make a difference, and I can continue to learn from people like we heard from this morning who are really futuristic people in this space. Important, a lot of school. Important, married to a Canadian, I don't know, I thought it might be appropriate for this crowd. I have 2 kids. I have a German short hair who thinks he's a lap dog, not a 80-pound, should be on the ground dog. And I am on Twitter. I'm not like out on Twitter every day, all day. I just don't have the time. And I think several folks said this morning, you know, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to be good at it. And that's going to be part of the message today as well, as far as channels. I think it's important for a company to recognize that they all need, they need people, they need friends. We got a really big slap in the face when we went through bankruptcy in this particular vein of thinking, because there were a lot of people out there who liked us, but were really disappointed in us. And there was a lot of people who really hated us, and they didn't want us to take the government money. But to sustain the business and to do the right things for the good of the whole, we took the money and we're trying to make the business run in a profitable manner. So it became apparent to us that not only do we need some friends, but we need more friends. And where do you find those friends at? Well, a lot of them are on social. You heard a lot this morning about the volumes out there and what things look like. So in 2008 to 2012, those are just some statistical numbers from some survey data that we collected. You can see, everyone is just leaping and bounding into this space. How many of you sleep with your phone within reach? Okay, so I think the number's something like 3/4 of people 18 to 24 sleep with their phones within reach. How many of you check your phone before you get out of bed in the morning or within the first 15 minutes? The number's like 79% of people check their phones within the first 15 minutes of their day. So you can see it's really a place that that everyone needs to be thinking about. Where do people get their information from? Just some more information on the volume of social moving forward. So we know where these people are in the world. These are the main social hubs across the globe. And at GM, we try to play in these spaces. So these are all of our representative channels across the world. And our goal is to be there. So if we have customers there, we're trying to be there in a strategic way. I have to have my little cheat sheet here because I can't ever remember the numbers. That's why I'm not a math major. Facebook, we have over 20 Facebook pages with 10 million followers. We have 5 Google Plus pages with 2 million followers. We have 15 Twitter handles with 20,000 followers. And we do in the US alone about 50,000 monthly interactions. So, you can see that this is a large setup. It goes very wide. So we've put some institutional things in place to try to make sense of it across the organization and get people to play together in this space in an efficient and effective manner. And I just wanted to walk through those today. So 5 things that we try to do. So a little corny, okay. But the bottom line is that if we can't get along within our own company, this is never going to work. We have to work together. Some places, social sits in marketing. Some places, social sits in PR. Some places, social sits in customer care, right? So when I first started this job, we were playing in social in all these spaces, but no one was talking to one another. So a lot of times, we'd be out on the Facebook page and customer care would pop up and say something, and then PR would pop in and say something else. And they weren't even saying the same thing, which is a little, disturbing. So we said, how can we go at making this a little bit more efficient? So what we did was we grouped together those functional staffs, customer care, public relations, and marketing, and said, okay, we're all going to share what we're doing, and we're going to have a better strategic plan going forward. So we did that. We've been meeting every Tuesday for the last 2.5 years since I came on the job, and we've made some huge strides in this area for getting along. We developed swim lanes, so we know when PR is supposed to answer that question, when customer care is supposed to answer that question, when marketing is supposed to answer that question. Customer care should not be doing exhibits and promotions and events. That's not what they do. Marketing should be doing that, right? Marketing should not be answering questions on how to fix your engine. That is not a good thing. No good can come from that. Trust me. We've learned these things. So in the last 6 months, we took this thing to the next level, and we've gotten the leadership team to buy in. And it's not just all about those 3. I used to call them the 3-legged stool, but I have to evolve my thinking now. Because it's really about more than that. It's about how do you take the feedback the customer's giving you and get it back into the quality or the manufacturing or the engineering function so that you can fix those problems before it even comes to market, or to know you have a problem, a common problem that's exhibiting repeatedly out in the world. So we're moving to this larger group function, and the center of expertise in the middle is a new group that we're setting up, and I'm moving, June 1, I'm moving from PR to this new job center of expertise under the customer experience group, and I'm going to be running social for the enterprise. So it's a very exciting time for us, for me as well, personally. And when you work together, good things happen, right? So this is an example of the Impala launch right here. And when we launched Impala in New York, we did it on the GM Facebook page first, and we got 2,200 likes, 457 shares, and 480 comments. As soon as that was posted, the Chevy team went ahead and reposted on their pages, garnering another 2,800 likes, 980 shares, and 935 comments. So we know that if we work together and we leverage the brand side and the corporate side, or whatever the situation is, we can have a much bigger win for the total team. Up in the corner, you'll see the picture of the Camaro and the little boy in his Camaro. Last June, we decided to launch Fan Friday, which is an opportunity for all of our fans to send in pictures of them in their cars or their kids in their cars, whatever they want. And every Friday that goes up, and we pick one, and it gets to hold the cover photo Facebook page for the weekend. That particular example showed 4,000 likes on day 1, 2,000 shares, 200 comments. When Camaro followed it, they got 1,100 comments, 1,500 shares, and they doubled the single post record for Camaro with 45,000 likes. So the message here is that you have to send your brand message, but you also have to hear what your folks want to hear about and interact and engage with your folks and let them tell you what they want to hear about too. And obviously, there's a lot of passion about people in their cars. This is another couple of examples. I just threw this one in yesterday. This was posted on Friday for the Cadillac page. Again, a boatload of interaction on it. And then on Friday before Memorial Day, last weekend, this gentleman was devastated in the tornado that happened in Oklahoma last week. And his truck rolled, that's his truck in the background there. His truck rolled and rolled and rolled and ended up underneath something. And he told the local TV station that he went and tried to start his truck. He knew he couldn't move it, but he just wanted to see if it would turn over. And it turned over and it ran. And he said that that gave him a lot of hope that he could rebuild what he could rebuild. So we ran the story and linked to the TV story on Friday before Memorial Day weekend. And obviously that generated a lot of love on the page. By all these teams working together and not independently, we've also increased our response time. It's really important to be out there, and it's really important to be out there and be responsive. So we've been able to go from a 24-hour response time to 90 minutes, and we have all the right people working together to make that happen. The second thing, listen, really listen. Like, you know, when your spouse says to you, "Are you listening to me?" And you think, "No, I wasn't listening to you at all," right? It happens, right? But you have to really pay attention to what people are saying to you, and it can't be all about what you want to tell them. You have to listen to what your customers are telling you. We do that in a variety of ways. We do have a command center that we've just recently put together. The gentleman in the jacket is Jim Maloney. He's the director of all customer call center activity. And those folks in the chairs are folks that work on our customer service center. They're looking at information on the screens that's coming in, whether it's a direct Facebook feed or a Twitter feed or analytics that are coming in from the analytics vendor. And they do that every day. That's what they do. And then on the right side of the screen, you'll see some of the forums. We interact with about 90 forums every day. So if it's a Corvette forum, it's a cruise forum, it's a truck forum, those folks have people within our organization that they know that are their go-to people as experts. So if somebody has a question about why is the car doing X, someone else will pop in and say, "Hey, Brandon's the guy that can answer that question. He should be here. You know, if he's not here today, he'll be here tomorrow. He's really spot on with this stuff." So we get a lot of love from the forums, generally speaking. Of course, you know, there's always issues. There are always stuff you have to deal with. But, you know, those people have integrated themselves, and they're a known expert in that space. Excuse me. Integration. Again, this cruise recall is a good example. One of our customers who had purchased a cruise had a recall, went to the dealership, had the work done, very interested in how his car works, talked to the mechanic about it, and the mechanic said, you know, they did this, that, and the other thing underneath the car, and, you know, that's what they did to fix it. And he goes, "Well, I think that's going to affect my gas mileage, and I'm not happy about that." So on his personal Facebook page, he posted you know, GM did this recall, Chevy did this recall. I'm not happy about it. One of our employees saw it. They sent it over to us. We called engineering. Engineering said, "Well, that's not true. You know, we did the math. It doesn't affect the fuel economy, but, you know, let me put together some data for this guy." So we put together the data. We sent it to the gentleman, and it made a difference of about 0.001 on the fuel economy. So, you know, a negligent amount of fuel economy, nothing to worry about for sure. And the customer was thrilled that we went through the process to get him the information, and then we did go back and loop and share it with all the forums. So it's a good way to help customers, whether they come to you directly or they don't come to you directly. We also have a large organization, and when stuff happens, you need to know who to go to get the word out. So whether that's PR or that's marketing or that's customer care or that's here in the North America or that's, you know, across the water, doesn't matter. We have a system in place. When something crops up, it goes to the route of the people that need to know, and so that everyone's informed and that they all know what they're doing and what the responses are supposed to be, so approved key messages and all those kind of things. This is a bad example, Trevor. Are you paying attention? The Trax, which is sold here in Canada, recently, about 2-3 weeks ago, we put up an ad that was found offensive to many Asians, and it was because of the music track that was involved. Somehow it got through all of the agency approval processes, and it went out on the first weekend, and we got just nailed with, I'm not happy, this is, why would you do this? This is, making me upset and unhappy. And so anyway, my phone started ringing about 4:30 in the morning, and we had all of the people that we needed to be involved by about 6, and by 9 we had it pretty much under control, where everybody knew that here were the key messages, everybody knew the video was being pulled down, everybody knew we had made a mistake and that we were apologizing for making that mistake. And this happens. I mean, no matter how good of a job everybody tries to do every day. I talked to the guy who approved this ad, and I said, how does this happen? And he said, well, we heard the music, but we didn't hear the words. And, it was a good lesson for everyone that you have to really pay attention, and you have to be able to go and fix things once they do happen. And then this is a slide just about, it's not, again, all about what we want. You have to be interactive. You have to let people tell you what they want to tell you about. And when you do that and you get in trouble on the page, they'll come and defend you. They'll say, hey, that's not true. They did this, or they gave this money, or the Volt doesn't do this, the Volt does this. And if you make that relationship of give and take, they'll come and they'll hang out with you and help you. The third thing, you got to be there. And you got to be there all the time. You can't get in and then just not do anything with it. You have to cultivate it like a garden. You have to grow it. You have to build that engagement. You have to have them feel like you're part of the family, they're part of the family. And I showed you this chart before. This is the, we're wide, we're all over, but we're also deep. So we have corporate channels, and we have brand channels. And if you look at just Chevy in the going deep category, Chevy has 5 Facebook pages, 2 Twitter accounts, a YouTube account, and 2 Google Plus accounts, because we have a Chevy and then a Team Chevy for racing. So if you're going to go, but then do. You can't just open it up and then walk away from it. You don't get the most points if you check all the boxes to say, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. You only get to check the box when you do it, and you do it right. And this is just some more about strategy, about how we go. So we try to make it efficient so that if it's global, you've got some messages. If it's regional, you've got some messages. But then localized, that's where you own it, and that's where you put your stuff that's important to you. And again, you have to be there. So when we started, we had like 2 people on the social team doing customer care. Now we have 20. When we started, we were running 8 to 5 days a week. Now we're running 7 days a week. And you have to do this. And if you don't do this, you just can't be efficient. So you've got to put the resources behind it. You have to be helpful. How can I help you? How can I help you, the customer? If they're in the market and they're a kid and they want information on their first car and they're still like 3 years away from getting a driver's license, doesn't matter. The right thing to do is to answer those questions and to interact. Or if you're a celebrity DJ Pauly D, who I didn't know, one of my guys knew, thank God. And he wanted a Cadillac, well, then you help him buy a Cadillac, for goodness sakes, right? This other thing over here is just an indicator for you guys. We have a system, so we have a web crawler that crawls everything, and then it pulls in by brand, by product, and then it pushes to the person who's responsible for that. So that's how that works for us. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than crawling pages individually, personally. And then service requests. How do I get help? Now, we really only do North America, but we get a lot of stuff overseas, a lot. And so that's why it's important to know who your contacts are across the globe. And we're not perfect by far. I mean, we've got some countries, again, that the PR people are doing it, some countries customer care is doing it, some countries that marketing's doing it. And we have to hop around to get help for the people who are on our pages, because it's not a solid system across the globe. And lastly, hanging out. You got to hang out. You can't just be online. You have to be online plus, I like to say. So in expected places for your business, like for our business, auto shows are expected places for us to be. So we take bloggers, we take mommy bloggers, we take daddy bloggers, we take auto enthusiasts, we take people who hate us and don't understand why we're in business, and we try to change their minds and tell them about why we're passionate about our business. And then, they talk about what their experiences were when they were with us, and it's a good round for all of us. And then at places that you're not expecting to see us. How many of you attended South by? Not very many. Okay, so South by, the hangout in Gulf Shores, Alabama, places where we can put product on the ground, we can put people who are passionate about that product on the ground, and we can tell our brand story. And those are two big examples. We do a lot of local, regional stuff as well. But when you look at what we do at South by, the volume is huge. We do catch a Chevy, we put like 40 Chevys on the ground, and we have those cars going around from place to place as the sessions are being held, and they're like free taxis for people. The Volt Lounge idea that you saw upstairs where you're having lunch, we have one of those there so people can recharge. So think about, how can your brand be helpful? What are the things that your brand can do to help someone get through a conference, to help someone get through a festival, having a better experience than they would have had if you weren't with them? And then All Hat's another example. This is an influencer event that we host at South by, and this is where I met all these guys, some of these guys. Getting like-minded, futuristic thinking people together always generates some sort of great outcome. It could be a new friendship, it could be a new business opportunity, it could be a co-partnership for your brand, it could be educating your executives how important this part of the world is. It could be any of those things, but this is another thing that you could do at an event or an exhibit or a place that offers you this kind of opportunity. And it really is a great opportunity for us. And then with these activations also involving real people. So we hooked up with the Pilgrimers on this year's event, and they drove a Volt from the East Coast down to Austin and Instagrammed their whole trip, and we found a lot of value in making that connection. Now, you have to figure out who these people are, and there's not a formula for that, but there's a lot of good people out there who are willing to help you spread your message and your product information, and if it's the right fit, you'll know it's the right fit, and you should run with it. So, that's what I have.